This PetX Talk is brought to you by Pet World Media Group, your partner in all things pet media. Additional funding and considerations provided by Natura Pets, Found Animals, and Dogwise Publishing. Are you ready to be empowered? Then join us for this PetX Talk.
Hi, my name is Marty Grosjean, and I am the founder and president of Only Natural Pet. We are an online e-commerce company that's dedicated exclusively to selling natural pet supplies. And I'm here today to talk to you about how to go natural with your pet, meaning your dog or your cat. A lot of people ask us how to get started if they're not familiar with natural products and natural lifestyle. So what we tell people is the best place to start is definitely with the diet. So a natural food is the best place to start, and what we say is the healthier and the fresher the food, the better. So at the top of the freshness pyramid for pet food is what we call raw food, and as the name implies, raw means actually uncooked food. When you cook food, some of the nutrient value is lost through the heat processing, especially the high heats that is used for canned and dry pet food. So really a fresh raw food is the best way to go. You can get it frozen in most small mom and pop local stores. You can also get it freeze dried, or you can get dehydrated, in which case you just sort of add water and makes it a little bit easier and a little bit less expensive than the frozen method. Next in line would be canned food. And canned food is definitely a great alternative for cats. Cats often don't get enough moisture in their diets, and canned food has a lot of moisture in it. It's also a good alternative for dogs who eat mostly dry food. It's a good way to spice it up, give them a little bit of variety, and give them a little extra nutrition as well. And then, of course, last in line is dry food. Which is, of course, the most common pet food. It's inexpensive, it's easy to feed, but it's also highly processed, and I sort of liken it to the cornflakes versus salad analogy. So if you were to eat cornflakes every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is an extruded food like dry dog food or dry cat food, you could theoretically live. It has all the vitamins and minerals that you need, but if you ate only cornflakes, you probably wouldn't be too healthy, you probably wouldn't have a lot of energy, and probably wouldn't live too long. So alternatively, if you ate fresh salads every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with high quality fresh ingredients, you probably would be very healthy and have a lot of energy and live a long time. So really, the fresher the better. If you are going to do dry food, what we generally say is look for a high protein food. For the most part, the higher the protein in the food, the more natural it tends to be. So for dog food, you want to look for something over 30%, ideally in the mid-30s, and for cat food, even higher, over 40%, maybe in the mid-40s. You want to go grain-free for the most part. Dogs and cats don't need grains or carbohydrates. They just like they thrive on good, high-quality animal protein ingredients, so that's where you want to focus. Also, of course, a part of any pet's diet is treats, and the same way with treats, you definitely want to go for a high quality meat-based treat as opposed to something that has a lot of carbs like a biscuit or something that has grain or corn or something in it. So we generally recommend a cooked or a freeze-dried meat treat, or jerky, a fish treat, anything like that that's made with animal ingredients or meat ingredients as the primary source is a good way to go, except of course if it's made in China. As many of you may know, over the last few years there's been a lot of recalls and sort of contaminated pet treats coming in from China, which has sickened a lot of dogs and cats. And so definitely avoid anything that's made in China. That's a good rule of thumb. For dogs and dog chews, we tend to recommend bully sticks and other natural parts, tracheas, ears, pig ears and cow ears, tendons, all those things that sound kind of gross, but actually are very healthy, have good nutritional value, including glucosamine and chondroitin, which are good for dogs' joints, good for their teeth because they take a while to chew most of the time. What we say is definitely avoid rawhide. On the other hand, rawhide is, basically just cow skin that's been highly processed in bleaches and other nasty chemicals. It's also got virtually no nutritional value, and it kind of gums up when they chew it, so there's a choking hazard involved. So all in all, it's just a bad choice for a treat. So definitely go for a more natural meat treat, generally, something from a cow, a buffalo, a pig, something like that, made in the US or South America. Another great way to go natural with dogs and cats is flea control. So the most common form of flea control, obviously, is generally the spot-ons, where you're taking a little bit of chemical pesticides and essentially squeezing it into your pet's skin, where it absorbs in and stays for a couple of months. And not surprisingly, putting chemicals in your pet's skin, there's a lot of adverse reactions to that. Pets that get sick or don't feel so well, or even sometimes there have been deaths reported. So much so, in fact, that the Environmental Protection Agency had an investigation a few years ago about all the adverse events that were being reported from these chemical-based spot-ons. So there are definitely natural alternatives, most of which are based on botanical ingredients rather than pesticide ingredients. So these are just plant extracts, and instead of working with a chemical reaction, they work to repel the pests like fleas and ticks with a smell, which is not an unpleasant smell to humans or pets, but definitely unpleasant enough to the pests that they just stay away from dogs and cats. And you can get flea collars, you can get flea powder, you can get even squeeze-ons that are a lot like the spot-ons, only they have natural ingredients, the botanical ingredients, instead of the pesticide ingredients. Another great way to go natural for dogs and cats is with nutritional supplements. And rule number one I tell people is definitely you want to feed your dog or your cat a vitamin every day. Just like people, pets generally don't get enough overall nutrients from their food, especially if they're eating the same thing day in and day out. So a good nutritional daily vitamin supplement that has multivitamins, multiminerals, and ideally some digestive enzymes, some probiotics, some essential fatty acids. That will give a good sort of broad overall nutritional base for good health. I also give my dogs fish oil. Fish oil is really great source of essential fatty acids, and it makes their fur very soft and shiny. So that's a great thing to do every day as well. And then lastly, with nutritional supplements, you can use them for specific health conditions. So if your older pet has stiff joints, even things like allergies, anxiety, thyroid issues, you name it, almost any health condition that a pet may be suffering from, there's probably a nutritional supplement or an herbal remedy or a homeopathic remedy that can help either alleviate the symptoms or sort of support the underlying part of the body where the health condition is occurring. And using nutritional supplements tends to be generally much less expensive than using prescription medications, as well as virtually no side effects, which is obviously not true with prescription medications. So, that's a quick overview of how to get started going natural. One of the challenges is that most veterinarians are not trained in natural products, especially like nutritional supplements and things like that. So it does take some self-education, or ideally, hopefully, the help of someone at your local pet store or an online store like ours that specializes in natural. It's worth taking the time to educate yourself, because over the long run, even though you may spend a little more every day, you'll probably have a lot lower veterinary bills and a lot lower prescription medicine bills. And not to mention, pets that live a natural lifestyle are healthier, they're happier, they have more energy, and of course they live longer. So it's definitely worth it.
Marty Grosjean, after his wonderful PetX talk. Marty, we hear the term grain-free thrown about quite a bit these days. And as a pet parent, I want to understand a little bit more what that actually means and how it impacts our pets.
Sure. Well, traditionally, dog and cat food, kibble, dry kibble in particular, has been manufactured using a lot of grains of some sort as the base, mainly because it's an inexpensive way to make the food. So wheat, corn, or sometimes soy, which obviously isn't a grain, oatmeal, oats, things like that. If you look in a sort of low-cost, inexpensive traditional food, you'll see those, one or more of those, very high on the ingredient panel. Well, the problem is dogs and cats don't need carbohydrates in their diets. They don't need grains, especially cats. Cats are obligate carnivores. They thrive on animal protein. If you think about what a dog eats in the wild, or what or let's call it a wolf in the wild, or a wild cat like a mountain lion eats in the wild, it's mice, it's foxes, it's they're not grazing on the wheat fields. So it's really what they thrive on, what they're biologically designed to eat is animal protein. And so that trend has really picked up over the last few years, where natural foods are leaving out the grains. One of the additional reasons to go grain-free is that because over the last, say, 50, 60, 70 years, the dry food has had so many of those ingredients in there, a lot of pets now have allergies to them because of generation of being fed wheat, corn, oats. So, the two biggest allergies that we see, that we get reported from our customers and their pets, are wheat and corn, followed by chicken, because again, chicken is such a common ingredient as well. So going grain-free, number one, is more biologically appropriate, tends to be a healthier food because it's going to have a higher protein and a higher level of animal ingredients, animal meat ingredients. And secondly, it tends to be more allergy friendly and less likely to stimulate allergies in a dog or a cat.
I thought one of the interesting things that you touched on in your PetX talk was treating from the inside out. Let's explore that a little bit.
Sure. Well, just like people with pets, the diet is the foundation for health. So you are what you eat. If you put in high quality, healthy ingredients into their diet, then they're going to overall be healthier, and you're going to have to spend less on health care, and they're going to have less sort of health issues as they grow older. And that includes allergies and skin issues, a lot of the common things, even really honestly flea and tick pest problems. A healthier dog or cat is going to have far fewer issues with fleas and ticks because they're less attracted to a healthy animal that has a strong immune system than a weak animal that has a weak immune system. And so you will have fewer problems with pests, you will have fewer health problems. And likewise, if they do develop a health condition of some sort, for instance, stiff joints when they get old or whatever, by using a nutritional supplement, you are essentially, again, treating from the inside out. You're using the healthy ingredients in the nutritional supplement to support that part of the body that's having problems. So it's really, instead of just treating the symptoms, for example, steroids for stiff joints is suppressing the symptoms, but it's not fixing the problem. A good nutritional supplement for joints will actually be building up the strength of the joints and the lubricants in there and things like that. And so really trying to fix the underlying cause rather than just treat the symptoms.
You brought up the front end cost versus the back end cost. Let's talk about that from a pet parent perspective.
Sure. Honestly, going natural is not, especially not in the long run, any more expensive than the traditional conventional route. You will pay a little bit more for natural food, no question about it. Anywhere from probably 20%, for your average natural food, to, maybe 50% if you go all the way to fresh raw food or something like that. However, again, a healthy pet doesn't have to go to the vet very often. They don't need prescription medications. I mean, I have a 16-year-old dog who the only time she ever went to the vet is when she chased a rabbit and got run over by a car. But as far as health conditions, never once. And that's the story with most of the pets around our office, is they eat the absolute most healthiest diets, and they take their vitamins and their fish oils, and our poor vet hardly gets any business. So definitely in the long run, it's more cost effective to actually just go natural. If some health condition does develop, use a nutritional supplement, which are usually significantly less expensive than whatever prescription drug the veterinarian may prescribe. In addition, you don't get a lot of the side effects that you get. Most of the time, there are no side effects with nutritional supplements. It's just like adding something, another type of food into the diet is really what it is.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all this great knowledge and information.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you for joining us for this PetX Talk. For more information about Marty Grosjean, visit onlynaturalpet.com. Funding for PetX Talks is provided by Pet World Media Group, your partner in all things pet media. Additional funding and considerations for PetX Talks is provided by Natura Pets. Natura Pets can help you optimize your pet's health with premium organic supplements from the Amazon and Andes Mountains. Visit naturapets.com. Dogwise Publishing, all things dog. For all of your expert dog book needs, visit dogwise.com. Found Animals, working towards big ideas that advance the safety and happiness of animals in our homes, our shelters, and everywhere in between. Visit foundanimals.org. Special thanks to Pet World Insider, taking you inside the world of pets. Visit petworldinsider.com for more expert radio interviews, articles, and videos. This has been a Pet World Media Group production.